everybody and welcome back. My name's Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. Today is a really super duper really easy tutorial on I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables. Now it's just come out over the weekend here in the UK and I believe it's been out a little bit longer in the USA. But I thought I would do a tutorial on I Dreamed a Dream. I did have a debate with myself as to which song I should choose to do, but in the end this one ran out, this one won. It was, I don't know, it's just a brilliant song, and I just thought that so many of you would probably just really enjoy playing it on the violin. So I thought I would do a tutorial for you. Now this is going to be in the same style that I did my Jingle Bells and Silent Night. So I know there's no written notes written on here, and some of you have said on the other videos that there aren't any written notes, but if you want to see my intermediate tutorial with the notes in, you can click on the link that's coming up now. So that's my intermediate advance, and I'll be talking about what positions to go into and how to get a nicer tone and all that kind of stuff. But today is just a really easy version of I Dreamed a Dream with the words and the strings and the notes that, sorry, the fingers that you put on the strings. So there are no notes, but then if I did put notes, then it wouldn't be really easy. So this is for all of you real beginners out there that want to have a go at Dreamed a Dream, but you know, I honestly don't think you'll find anything like this on the internet. I haven't actually looked, but I don't know, you might do. But anyway, this the link to this sheet is going to be in the description bar underneath. So if you want this, it's underneath the description bar. It's definitely 100% there. It's completely free, so you don't have to pay. All you've got to do is click on the link and just print it out. So what I suggest you do is that you go ahead and you print out your copy. It's 3 pages long. For you, go and print it out, have the music in front of you, and then you can have a look at, you can watch my video at the same time and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about as well. So what I'm going to do is play it for you, rather than just playing it in the same style as I did with the other ones where you saw me play it from sort of this distance and then you saw me play it with my fingers closer up to the camera. I'm just going to zoom the camera into my fingers and I'm just going to play it through once for you. This time I'm actually going to play it with a backing track, so I've got my in-ear monitors in here and I've got my microphone on my violin all ready to go. I've got a little recording and mixing desk down here just in front of me that it's all plugged into. So I'm going to record the song that you're going to hear me play now. I'm just going to run it through the mixing desk, put a little bit of reverb, a little bit of delay, that kind of thing, and then put it back over the video. So rather than you just hearing the raw sound of the violin in the room with the CD backing track coming out of my player in the background here, it's not going to sound very nice and the balance is going to be all messed up and that kind of thing. So this isn't a recording that I've recorded, you know, here's one I did earlier kind of thing. This is going to be the recording that you're going to hear. It will sound really nice because it's been through a desk, but it is the live recording that you're going to actually see me play on this video in just a few seconds. So I hope you enjoy it, but here is the really easy version of I Dreamed a Dream. So that was your really easy version of I Dreamed a Dream on the violin. So I hope the close-up there has helped you there. So assuming that you've got your music, or you've got your sheet printed out in front of you, let's start having a look through it. So you've got all the words there, so I'm really assuming that you really sort of do need to know the song, otherwise there's no rhythm there. So you'll need to sort of imagine the words going on in your head and envisaging that with the tune going along as well, and putting the words with the finger numbers that we put on the strings that we put above the words there, and you'll be able to put the tune together relatively easy. There isn't really an awful lot to mention with this, just literally just one or two points that you really do need to watch out for. Everything that needs to be back or stretched has been written in. If there isn't the word back or stretched in red, written above one of the letters, above one of the numbers, then it's just going to be normal. So it'll either be just an open string, or it'll be the third finger that goes in the regular place. On page 2, right at the top, but the tigers come at night, for the word but, you've got an E natural, so I've put it as, I've written normal above it. So by normal I mean it just goes back to the regular place that it would normally go for an E natural, because all the other E's were E flat. I've kept this in the original key as well, so that if you want to play it to a backing track, you absolutely can. I'll put a link to the backing track that I've got underneath it as well, but I would have thought any decent backing track would fit with this anyway. So I've kept it in the same key as that. It was quite easy to do anyway, so like I say, if you want to play with a backing track, you can do. So that one is a normal, because all the other ones are pretty much all the other ones apart from that one, and with their voices soft as thunder, everything else is going to be back there. So the first thing that you probably need to watch out for is going back to page 1, on the third line down, and life worth living. Now worth living. The worth is a third finger on the G string, and then the first part of live, is a third finger on the G string. And because you've got 2 3s there, what you don't want to do is lift up the third finger, because you're going to get the open D. So you can hear the open D in there. So what you need to do is prepare that section. So maybe circle it just to remind yourself. It does come a few times, but whenever that does come, what you need to do is when you put the third finger down on the D string, just be aware that you might need to just push the third finger over to the G string. So what you're actually going to do, instead of just putting the third finger on the D string and then trying to sort of somehow roll it across to the G string, what you want to do is when you put that third finger down, almost put it down so it's almost on both of the 2 strings. So when you do roll over to the G string, you're not having to do so much of a roll. So instead of just having it on the D string as it would normally be, and then trying to roll with no finger left, just bear that in mind and have a little bit of finger left so that you are ready to roll. So that bit does come 1 or 2 times. It comes on page 2 where you've got he filled my days with endless wonder. I think there might be and dreams were made and used and wasted as well. So it comes there also. Another little kind of tricky part, which I know a lot of you are going to say that you're having trouble with, and that is on page 1, I dreamed that God would be forgiving. Now, in an ideal world, you wouldn't actually do this, but if I did change it and do what I would do as a professional violinist, then it's going to be too difficult for you guys that are just beginning out there, and it would just completely defeat the whole purpose of making this really easy for you. So there might be no way that you can avoid this. So I dreamed that God would be forgiving. So you're going from a 1 on the A to a 3 on the G to a 1 on the D. That's not so complicated, but it's going from 1 on A to the 3 on the G string, you've got to jump over strings. Now, some of this isn't going to be avoidable. You might actually get a tiny little bit of string crossing in between, but that's absolutely fine until that you're capable enough of changing positions and doing all that kind of thing. If you even know what changing positions is at this point, then I would just stick with just doing it that way. And what you want to try and do is stop the bow rather than trying to keep the bow moving. And then you get the sound of all the strings halfway through. Stop the bow, move the bow round, so you don't get... You want to avoid that as much as possible. But you can always pause on the forgiving. So you can just stop the bow on the 1, move it across to the G, and then carry on with the other 2 notes there. That happens again on the bottom line of page 1. No song unsung, no wine untasted. So again, you've got exactly the same thing going on there. Okay, moving on to page 2, But the Tigers Come at Night. This is a really, really nice section. I absolutely love this section. So it says here that you've got a normal 1 on the D. So by normal, I just mean that it's just in the regular place that the first finger would normally go, because other than that, the first fingers are back for all the rest of them. And by the way, when the first fingers are back, I mean really far back. So far back to the sort of the nut, until you sort of feel that rigid bit that you can't sort of go any further. That's how far back you need to be, probably a lot further back than a lot of people sort of realise. So your normal here, and then night is a back 1, so that I don't think that's going to cause much issue. Thunder's really nice because you've got a normal 1 on the G string, and then the set for thun, and the second half of der, thunder, you've got a 2, so those can be sort of nicely wedged in together. So they're almost touching there. So you don't really have to move too much there. So you've got the 1 on the G string, and the second finger on the D string just slips in quite nicely behind it. The next line, as they tear your hope apart. Now when the music apart, the last part of apart goes down to a G flat, I believe. Now we haven't got that on the violin because we only go as far as the open G string. We can't go any lower than the G string. So what I've done is gone back up to a B flat. Now it isn't what the music says, but in terms of what else can we do? We can't miss it out. We need to do something. So I've decided that a B flat would be really nice. It does fit in with the music. And I don't think many people are really going to know or be that fussed, if I'm being completely honest anyway. So for that line, so you're just going back up to a B flat, and I think it sounds absolutely fine. As they turn your dream to shame, you've got a nice scale run here, so you want to try and keep this nice scale run consistent. You can drop in a little bit of vibrato, all the better. I know you've got a horrible 4th finger here. Sorry guys, you can't avoid the 4th finger. Please don't do open A's. I know that sounds quite nice on its own, but trust me, when you get that with the music, open A's will not sound very nice at all. But the good news is that the 4th finger should be right next to the 3rd finger as a little guide for you. So, and then the 4th finger's right next door, and the next one is back. So for the finger positions there, you've got a back 1, you've got a back 2. So be careful here when I've said 2 is back, because what I don't mean is the 2 is back. Normally when the 2 is back, it's right next door to the 1st finger, but the 1st finger has already moved back. So you need to imagine the 1st finger being where it would normally be, and then the 2nd finger being back, and that's where the 2nd finger would be. Hope this isn't too confusing. And then the 1st finger's back even more. So when the 2nd finger is back, I know traditionally we normally have it, when we say back, it's next to the 1st finger. When it's stretched, the 2nd finger is next to the 3rd finger. But bear in mind that the 1st finger has already moved back, so you're going to have to sort of think to yourself, where would the first finger be normally? Then the second finger drops in next to it, but then remembering that the first finger has already moved back to play RE flats. So for the scale for shame, you've got a 1 back, a second finger that in theory would be back, and then a 3 would be on the dot. So you've got 3 gaps there with the fingers. A 4th finger is right next door, and then a back 1 on the A there. Page 3, when it comes to the key change there, I know we've got a lot of open A's. I thought about putting some 4s in, but there's so many 4s there that I think a lot of you would A, have trouble putting in the 4th fingers and getting them nicely in tune, and B, I think just getting a nice tone out of them. I don't think it would be as nice as... They're going quite, but there are dreams, they're all on open A's. They're going quite quickly anyway, so even if I was doing that in 3rd position, I probably wouldn't have an awful lot of time to put vibrato on them anyway. So we only avoid open strings to either get rid of the harsh tone that an open string causes in the middle of the music, or so that we can actually put a bit of vibrato on it, so we might change position so that we can put a nice bit of vibrato. But since this is going quite quickly anyway, I don't think it really matters, and I think the nice open A tone works really well because it does give you a lot of strength and a lot of power that supports the key change that you've got here anyway. In terms of what you're going to do for bowing, I would just say keep it easy and do whatever bowing you want to do. If you want to slur a couple of notes, that's absolutely fine. If you want to do it all separate bows, that's absolutely fine. What I would say is that you need to use quite a bit of bow. So give the bow some length there, and you'll get a nice open sound rather than... You're not going to get such a nice sound out of there. So really push the bow. A nice bit of bow there to give you the strength and power that this song needs, especially since it's quite low down in the violin as well. I might just start some of the sentences or some of the lines here just with open bows, because you're not starting directly on the first beat. You're actually starting sort of after the first beat has sort of gone. So starting on an up bow just brings you in quite nicely for that. I think that's it really. I don't think there's anything else that I need to mention in there. I've kept it really simple and really easy on purpose for you, so there isn't so much you have to worry about. I've written all the fingers in. Any problems, leave a message in the comment bar underneath. I'll try my best to get back to you if I can and help you. The link to this is in the description bar underneath, so you can download it free of charge and print it out. So yeah. And if anything of this, even if this tutorial hasn't helped you, I hope you enjoyed listening to my performance of it earlier anyway, but I hope it has helped a lot of you anyway. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.